Dr. Jay, you want to come in?
No, yeah. If I could just add to that, I think a lot of the developed countries and a lot of the big countries broadly look after themselves. A big part of the challenge today is to give smaller countries more choices. When they have choices, they have a better ability to weigh the merits of them. When you don't have choices, you take what you get. So, and if you look around the world, yes, there are big structural issues. I mean, all of that is true. But there are also issues emanating from policy choices which were not prudent of us. To my mind, one difference we can make, and even sitting among the three of us in this region, it's for us relatively a newer region to engage in terms of our developmental contribution. But even in some way, we can add to the overall kitty and expand the choices. Obviously, different countries do. Everybody does what or should do what they're good at. In our case, let us say domains like health or education, these would be more natural things to do. But overall, yes, there has to be something other than the market and other than very politically loaded offers to help build infrastructure. It's part of our collaborative goal in the Indo-Pacific to create those additional options.
I'm going to take the next set of questions to the bilateral. And I want to really explore what's happening in some of the relationships on the stage here. And I want to start with you, Minister Wong, and then I want to come to Dr. Jay before I come to the Deputy Prime Minister. That you started your work as Foreign Minister with a trip to the Quad Summit, if I remember, and I think that was your first day in office. And that's when you met in Japan, if I remember correctly, right? And there's been 20 meetings. You just counted them down. So now today is the 20th time you're meeting each other. What are the drivers of this huge transformation? And Dr. Jaishankar spoke about it yesterday, so I won't ask him this question. But he was speaking about the relationship being perhaps one of the most transformed relationships in the last decade. And from a Canberra perspective, what are the key drivers that are shaping the Australia-India bilateral today?
I think we share. Oh, I like Joe, so that helps.
Okay. So,
I think we share a very clear view about what matters in our region and want to work with each other in order to make that happen. That would be it at its most simple. We can talk about all of the other kind of elements of the relationship. The Australian-Indian community is such an important. I described it yesterday as the sort of beating heart of the relationship. It is such an important part of our connection. But this is a relationship which I think is founded on not just our history, our communities, but a very deep understanding of the benefit of working together as strategic partners in the region and in the world in which we live. I think we both recognise the reshaping of the region and the world, and we both recognise the importance of working with others and with each other to influence that. We're also Quad partners, and that is a very important aspect of the relationship. It has been transformed, I think, certainly in the time we've been in government, but certainly I would recognised also by the previous government. I think there's a bipartisan commitment to the relationship on the foreign policy side, on the strategic side, on the defence cooperation side, on the economic side.
But do you think it's time for now this big, bold, audacious joint project? You know, you have $50 billion of trading relationship, or nearly $50 billion of a trading relationship, right? It's grown over the last few years. And is it time now to think about something really big that in some sense establishes a permanence in the relationship that's beyond the
Well, I think it's permanent. No, I do. I mean, I think we, apart from the very close personal relationships, whether it's between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Albanese, or the work that we do together, you know, we live in the fastest changing region in the world. And whether it's cooperation in the Pacific or Indian Oceans and all that means, I think that is a permanent fixture. And you know, anyone who's in these roles who doesn't recognise that, I think, is misunderstanding the nature and the impact and the weight of the relationship.
Dr. Jay, would you like to comment?
On which one?
The big, bold, audacious.
You know, look, I don't know if you necessarily, that's the best way of proceeding. I mean, if you get one, it's great. But I would argue that in what we do is to look for what's the USP of that particular partner or country, and see what we can do. And to my mind, you know, big or small is not that relevant. I'll give you a very different example, and you are familiar with it. You know, with Israel. Israel actually has made a huge contribution in terms of drip irrigation in India. So a lot of people in the agriculture business actually know Israel, because for them this is a country of drip irrigation. So it can be one thing you're very good at, which applied on a big template can have a dramatic, game-changing possibility. So, you know, when I sit with my two colleagues, to me, education comes naturally to mind, because if you look at countries which actually have created a place for themselves in global education, Australia and New Zealand would come to mind. Because there are others who take students, but they have a big population of their own. So the international students are a small add-on. Whereas, these two countries have actually made this into a kind of a global industry. In the case of New Zealand again, Winston and I discussed it. To me, the dairy sector, for example, they are world leaders in that. And obviously, the nature of the domain is very different. We are sort of small animal husbandry economy. But there are collaborative possibilities, and there are actually some projects which have already started. Now, everything starts small, then you figure out how to scale it up. So once you start looking for partners who can bring some great, something important you don't have.
Something unique.
Yeah, something unique, and then apply it on that scale.